Today's episode of Lehtonen's Home Theater is special because this is the first time I have reviewed a TV show for this channel. Even though I am a fan of shows like Batman the Animated Series, American Horror Story, Masters of Horror, Smallville, and The Twilight Zone, I don't watch sitcoms all that much or do a lot of binge watching on Netflix. Therefore, I have never watched shows like Gotham, Orange is the New Black, or even Game of Thrones. That's right, as of this date, September 25th, 2017, I have not seen one episode of Game of Thrones. But please don't turn this off. However, one show that I simply could not resist checking out was Marvel's Daredevil show on Netflix, which aired in 2015. The computer I had at that time was so crappy that I just could not get the online Netflix video player or any online player to play anything on it correctly without it pausing and skipping constantly. I even had that kind of trouble watching videos on YouTube. But back in April I finally got a new computer and that video playing issue is now a thing of the past, thank God. But I'm still very lazy when it comes to binge watching a show, but finally I managed to force myself to sit my ass down in front of the new computer and binge watch both seasons of the Daredevil show on Netflix. That's 26 episodes altogether. And I watched all 26 of them in 6 days. Not 6 days straight. I took some days off in between some of them, but I got through all the episodes. And so, what do I think of the Daredevil show on Netflix? I love it. I love it. I love it. Best superhero show yet. Best superhero show yet. Simply fucking awesome show. Based on the popular comic book character created in the 1960s by Stan Lee and Bill Everett, Daredevil tells the story of Matt Murdock, a blind man who is a lawyer during the day and then a costumed vigilante superhero during the night. Murdock was blinded as a child in an accident, but as a result of going blind, his other senses have taken over in a superpower way. One of his abilities is superhearing, where he can hear people from great distances and even listen to people's heartbeat to tell whether or not they are lying. His senses are so extreme as a result of his blindness, he can be a kick-ass superhero. Daredevil has kinda always been like Marvel's version of Batman, but without all the money or technology in the world. I first learned of the Daredevil character from seeing the 2003 movie starring Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. I enjoyed it as a 17, 18-year-old, and I still think it's a decent movie, even though Affleck flat out hates it now. But the 26 episodes of this Netflix show are the way a live-action version of this character was meant to be seen. And Charlie Cox does a fantastic job as the character of Matt Murdock and his costumed identity Daredevil. I've never seen him in anything else, which helps. I really believe him in this role, or these two roles. Eldon Henson plays Franklin Nelson, or Foggy. He's Murdock's law partner and close friend who Jon Favreau played in the 2003 movie, mostly as a comic relief character in that movie. And while there are some comic relief moments with Henson's version of the character of Foggy, he is actually a much more interesting and deeper developed version of the character. Deborah Ann Woll from the show True Blood, which I also have never seen, plays Karen Page, Matt and Foggy's secretary, and even though there is a bit of a love triangle there with these three, that's not all the character of Karen is used for. She's a well-written female character, and while watching the show, I got the feeling that there is more about her character that is waiting to be revealed in future seasons. Flashbacks to Matt Murdock's childhood, from when he was blind to the death of his father to his training with a blind martial arts expert named Stick, played by Scott Glenn, are sprinkled throughout Season 1 instead of just having an entire episode devoted to Daredevil's origin story. The entire first season of the show is Daredevil's origin story, which allows all the characters, not just Matt Murdock, to be slowly peeled and revealed. We even get flashback moments of how Matt and Foggy's friendship came to be. The flashbacks are like puzzle pieces, and how often do we get 13-hour-long superhero origin stories? It was also such a surprise to see actress Rosario Dawson appear throughout the series in a supporting role. I did not expect to see her here in this show, but it was really nice to see her, and it's a good character for her. The same can be said about Ayelet Zurer, if that's how you pronounce it. She appears throughout Season 1 and is the actress from Angels and Demons, and also played Superman's mother on Krypton in Man of Steel. But I especially loved the portrayal of Season 1's main villain, and that is the character of Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin, played by Vincent D'Onofrio, even though he is not referred to as the Kingpin in this season. He too has a very interesting and well-written character. You don't condone who he is and what he does, but you do understand him. There is a nice moment between him and Daredevil in, I believe it's episode 6, where they talk to each other by police radio. I like that moment. There's even a whole episode that details his past and how he came to be the way he is. And even though Michael Clarke Duncan, rest his soul, did a really nice job as the Kingpin in the 2003 movie, Vincent D'Onofrio's portrayal of the character in this show is the way a live-action version of this character was meant to be seen. The character here has been done right. All the characters have been done right here. Now let's talk about the action and the fights. The action and fights in this show are absolutely awesome and absolutely crazy. This show is certainly the go-to place for stunt people who are looking for work. One fight in, I believe it's episode 2, takes place in a hallway in one long, never-ending single take where there are no cuts. I love that stuff. And the stunt work and choreography are fast and precise and above all realistic and brutal. Interestingly, this show takes place in the same universe as all of the Marvel movies. From what I could tell while watching Season 1, there was only 1 or 2 references to the character of Iron Man, 1 reference to Thor, 1 reference to Captain America, and 2 for the first Avengers movie. But the style and tone of this show are so different from all of the Marvel movies that one could easily forget that while we are watching the events of this show unfold in this little corner of New York City that is Hell's Kitchen, all the Avengers are out there somewhere. Having said that, I must also say that this is absolutely not a show for kids. Something that separates this show from all the escapist entertainment styles and tones of the Marvel movies is its dark, gritty, violent, and realistic tone, especially its violence. The violence in this show can be so extreme and harsh, just like the Daredevil comics, for example, the Frank Miller era. Sometimes I'd be watching the show and some of the most extreme violent moments would occur and I would be like, holy hell. For example, a guy gets decapitated by a car door in one episode. That's how extreme this show can get. Not that I'm complaining or criticizing this, I'm not. I think it's good. Lastly, I need to mention Daredevil's Red Devil costume. He doesn't begin wearing it until episode 13, the very last episode of Season 1. Before that, he wears like an all-black ninja outfit. I do believe that is borrowed from one of the Frank Miller Daredevil graphic novels. I think it is called The Man Without Fear. Throughout the season, Murdock is given some real strong and smartly written reasons for why he would wear a costume like that. First, he gets his whole body badly sliced up in one episode, then he learns how he can get a special body armor after that, and make a suit out of that armor. Then at his church, he learns of an old tale involving the devil, and that inspires him to use the devil as a symbol. It's kind of the Dark Knight approach, where how Bruce Wayne got his bat suit and why he made it resemble a bat. The Dark Knight trilogy is clearly a big influence on this show, and the writing for this show is fantastic. So, if you are a fan of comic book characters, including the Daredevil character, or just a fan of the character but felt let down by the 2003 Ben Affleck movie, you should absolutely love the Daredevil series on Netflix. I certainly did. And Season 1 is by far one of the absolute best origin stories ever done for both the superhero and the villain. So, thumbs up. If you haven't seen it before, check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and there will be more because Lehtonen's Home Theater is always showing.